Hey everybody, it's Book of Katherine. So I want to show you these two things we learned about Brighton Palace. This is looking inside Brighton Palace, and two really big discoveries that I made going over it with my friends that totally shocked the heck out of us. Number one is this room. This is called the King's Bedroom. And this was a really big discovery. I posted this on Twitter, but I wanted to do it on YouTube since it reaches so many more people. So this is the King's Bedroom if you want to look it up online. Now, what I want to point it out to you here is, number one, what you see around here, these eagles, but the eagle has a mask on it. It has a mask like a cow, and it has horns on it like Bacchus. Underneath the eagle, it has actual dragons, like Chinese dragons, like Happy New Year dragons, like Chinese New Year's dragons, which is very interesting. So this has like almost like the eagle that we see, the German eagle, but then it has like a Bacchus thing covering its head. Then it has the Chinese underneath its wings. Then we see a seal here at the king's bed, at the foot of his bed. That's a larger seal than I ever saw in any of the monarchs' bedrooms. When we go through the Louvre, I've been to the Louvre. That's a very large seal. Remember, the Pope gives each of the monarchies their power under God. He says which monarch the God actually speaks to. That's the largest seal I've ever seen. But here's what's more important. Not only is there an eagle at the top here and here, so that the eagles are 1, 2, 3 surrounding, and it actually goes throughout the room, this entire newspaper. But the room is green. Pay attention to that. The entire room is green. That's very important. It shows you that, remember, Hitler's entire campaign was done under green. The entire king's room is green, and this is back in the 1700s. Green like the olive wreath of Rome, right? And then also, when you look here, when you zoom into the bed, look at what wreathes the king's head. And you can see that right there. That is a crown of olives. Right there. And that's what goes over the king's head. And then right above that crown, right above the crown, right above that circle is the eagle. And that kind of puts everything in perspective. Now we know what that circle of olives was for, circling the crown of the monarch. I didn't even put that together till seeing it. So what you see here is the Third Reich symbolism. The eagle over the gold, and they just put the Nazi symbol in the middle. The eagle over the gold. And that was built in the 1700s, the late 1700s. And what that does is that likes in, like these monarchs' names, they have Caesar and Augustus in their names. If you look up their actual names, they have Augustus through it in their names. And they were also, when I say they're kings of Hanover, like if you look at King George III, King George I, they have Augustus and they have Caesar Augustus in their names. They have the ruler of Hanover, King of Hanover. Hanover is actually in Germany, and Germany at that time was the Holy Roman Empire of Germany. And what I've said is I think that it looked like Rome was struggling so much with this new Jesus movement when Jerusalem, remember we've talked about this before. I'm going to have to just draw a chart on the wall and show you what we've learned in our research. But it looks like what has happened is Caesar with the crown, all the emperors of Rome had these crowns of olives. And why this is important is because if you look at the pictures that I found for you, Queen Victoria actually wore a crown of olives on her wedding day. And she had a painting of herself done. It's been repainted over. I've seen some done where they say it's orange blossoms. But I found the drawing, the sketch, and some drawings that were done on the actual day. And she's wearing a crown of olives. And then what happened is, and you'll find the ones that's been way done over, you'll find a million different versions of those. But the ones that I found, they're only one version of those. And those all have a crown of olives, just like the emperors of Rome. What's interesting is then she had it redone. She had herself redone in wedding dress a few years later, after they conquered, like she got named empress, like after they'd done all these achievements, after they'd had all these kids, like she wore a wedding veil at each one of the coronations of her kids and stuff like that. And she actually had the veil, the crown done again, but with blossoms. It turns out olive leaves, like olive branches, can have actual blossoms. She had those olive blossoms put in that picture when you see the wedding picture redone. I just kind of want to throw up a little bit because she became named the Mother of Europe after that. All these monarchies in Europe, just like King George III had 3 kings. He had 10 kids. 3 of them became kings, and one of his daughters married a king. So did Queen Victoria. And Queen Victoria was born in Germany. Her husband was born in Germany. They're all German royals. I mean, the British crown is literally just the Holy Roman Empire of Germany. It's all this German, Italy, and Britain thing. It's all just one. And that's what I'm going to do, the reaction video I'm going to do today. But I just wanted to point this out. The last thing I wanted to point out that we found in this palace is this. Do you recognize these curtains? Does anybody recognize these curtains? And this wallpaper? This looks like something from Gone with the Wind, doesn't it? Straight out of Gone with the Wind. Here, I'll show you. Actually, this is the Carol Burnett skit making fun of those drapes in Gone with the Wind. That's even better. I feel better using that one. Because in Gone with the Wind, Scarlett O'Hara turned the drapes into her dress in order to make it. Tara had these huge drapes. They cut in dress. And guess who they used for Tara? Even though it was a great American, even though it was a great American hero, even though it was a great American actress, even though it's a great American story, it's supposed to be this big American story, who did they use? They used Vivien Leigh, a huge royal Shakespearean actress. And then what did they do? They did the Academy Awards, an award show based out of Nazi Germany. Nazi Germans were the first one that started that. And boom. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to find a good picture for you that you can see it clearly. It's all the dolls. Apparently, people have been really enjoying remaking it or remaking the... You can see Vivien Leigh there. Vivien Leigh. So they let the man be. I don't even know if the man... I don't know if Rhett Butler... Can we even see it? Can we even see the dress? Wow. No, whatever. I give up. I give up. I give up. They used a British actress for the Great American Movie. And, of course, why wouldn't they? Because it was about British colonies. But the British colonies had broken off and become... That was when they destroyed it. It's really, really interesting when you put it all together. Anyway, I'm going to start digging on you. Anyway, so those are the things that we have learned from the Royal Pavilion. Those lovely little drapes that they had in Queen Victoria's bedroom, those are the exact same drapes that were in Gone with the Wind. And then they gave Gone with the Wind the big, huge awards. I was just like, oh my gosh, the drapes that every little girl grew up wanting to have a dress like every little girl grew up, it burned in every little girl's, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's straight out of Queen Victoria's bedroom. What in the heck? And it's green. It's green and imprinted green onto every little girl's. That's beautiful. Think about Tara. All Tara was wearing was green, and America was red, white, and blue. And that was Yankee, wasn't it? Yankees wore blue, and that movie made us hate Yankees, didn't it? For setting us free. It made us hate the abolitionists who didn't want slavery. Britain wanted slavery. They wanted to get to the West Coast. Bravo. Bravo with your propaganda. Genius propaganda department. Genius propaganda. All those award shows, creating award shows. So my challenge to you, kids, is to come up with your own awards. Make your own awards. So come up with the Katherine Award. You know, come up with your award and watch one of the Insider movies and decide, or one of your teams on one of your games, and come up with an actual award. And say this, watch one of the Insider movies and say, I'm going to name one of these characters. And you have to debate amongst yourselves which character actually fits you guys and who you are the most. Not what anybody else says the most, but you the most. Because that's what America was, is that you can become an individual. You are not what the crown says you have to be. You are not a slave. A slave is someone who has to do what somebody tells you to do. An individual and a free man is someone who decides what they can do with their own vote, who wants to vote the way, that's the only way you vote for it. A free man has their own vote, and they don't want you to have your own vote. You need to decide what movie you like. You need to decide what kind of actor and actress you like. You need to decide what kind of flavor of ice cream you like. It is not up to them to tell you, and that's what award shows were designed. I just found it out today that not even the Nazis based it upon the German Workers' Party film policy. And we know the German Workers' Party history. That goes straight back to Queen Victoria and Albert together. All those little writing desks, they moved their desks together and wrote together. Oh, what are those really good little creations to control the people. Oh, how genius of them. And they made in 1930, right after 1928's book of propaganda came out, the German Worker Party made a film policy that the movies, which had just been invented, were to now make propaganda ad campaigns. And those ad campaigns were to promote Nazism. And that is to erase your humanity and make you a follower. And hasn't that worked? Right after that, America had no taxes, and now we are taxed more than we ever have been before. And we have toll roads, just like the Roman Empire. And if you argue and say we shouldn't have taxes, people argue back with you. And if you say we should remove laws, if you say we shouldn't have a minimum, if we should not have a minimum wage, if you say we shouldn't have any laws, we should remove all minimum wage laws, people will argue with you. People will now argue with you to stay a slave. That is genius propaganda right there. Well done, Britain. Well done, monarchies. Well done, Rome. Should really read Julius Caesar, the things they have written out as actual scripture. Just as apparently the Christians have their scriptures, just as the Hindus have theirs, just as they've taken over the Buddhist scriptures, you can't even find the original text of those anymore. And neither can you of those. How long did it take us to find the NASB version of 1995? That took us the 2 years that I've been digging. It took me forever to find the NASB. Only this summer did we find it. So, and that it's changed everything just to find the real translation of that. That's changed everything because it turns out it has so much historical documentation, right? So I can only imagine all this time they've been reading Julius Caesar like a biblical text. And his phrase was, I came, I saw, I conquered. And boy, have they been doing a great job of it. So the only way to take it back, people, is to say, so long, sucker. I'm done being a slave. I'm going to find out what I like. Dig into the insider movies and find out who you like for your own reasons. And don't be scared to say so. Give out your own awards. Love you guys. Bye.